Max, please.
And Sean.
Oh, I get that by her. So funny. When our officers were upstairs, I could figure out next always tell people what's coming up and somebody would be.
Okay, Sean. Hey, Maxine.
I'd like to call the order of Schenectady City Council Committee meeting for Monday, May 5th, 2025. The first item on the agenda is a presentation. Ms. Patrick?
Yes, Mr. Mazeka has a really wonderful program planned for the summer, so he's going to come up and, do you want to wait for Paul, or do you want to start?
We're working on Ray. There's a big accident on 40 here about 2 minutes.
I beg your pardon?
Ray Freeman was coming here. We have an announcement, and he was going to be part of this. He says he's right here at Delphine. He said he'll be here about 2 minutes.
Okay.
I can go ahead and do the summer program.
Yeah, why don't you start and then we can join in.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Madam President, Council. As you all know, we're planning a great summer program this summer. We're going to be in 4 of our city parks. We're going to be in the Hillhurst Park, Jerry Burrell, Steinmetz, and Central Park. We're going to be running various activities in the park. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is highlighting some of the improvements that were done in the parks with ARPA money. In Hillhurst, we're going to be having pickleball, since that was a new item that was put up in the park there. We're going to be doing some fishing up in Steinmetz Park. The fishing pier is going to be put in up there, hopefully by the end of the season. But the kids are still going to fish this summer up there. We're going to be in Jerry Burrell. There's going to be basketball, tennis. We're going to highlight the new basketball court with the great mural that was painted. I don't know if everybody's got a chance to see it. Looks fantastic up there. And then in Central Park, we're going to be hosting the Scary Learning Center is going to come in. And they're going to be teaching the kids about the water, the fauna, and the different things in the parks up there. And we're going to also have general recreation activities in Central Park. We'll have some baseball, we'll have cricket, we'll have some soccer up there. We are going to plan on hiring about 42 children, it looks like, right about now. Been working closely with the school district and our school resource officers. They've been feeding kids to us, some of the neighborhood organizations. So we have about 40-some kids lined up right now. I'm going to start doing interviews next week. We'll get them on board. So it sounds like we're going to have a really exciting summer. A lot of the kids that I've talked to briefly are excited about coming on board. Oh, and we have an announcement to make. Right? I bet you care what it's all about.
Yeah, but I do want to ask you a question. So you mentioned 4 parks. So could you just kind of give the council an update where things are with Grout Park? Because that was
Grout Park right now, we're still under improvements. We're targeted, the weather might throw us off right now. It was targeted to be finished at the end of May with all the construction, the grass being planted, and irrigation. The park won't be open this year. We're not going to take back possession until the grass is fully established. We want the grass established before we allow me to play on the field up there. So it's moving right along.
So next year,
Next year it'll be played back on. Cricket will be back up in Grout Park.
Okay. All right.
And now we have an announcement. I bet you can't guess what it's all about. Does everyone know Ray Freeman?
Yes. Well, I think so. I think everyone should.
Ray has a great announcement about a program that we're going to bring back up this year.
Give me more background on Ray for those who have they didn't know.
Oh, well, there's a lot of familiar faces from Schenectady here. A little bit of background about myself. I was born and raised on Schenectady Street. Have a bunch of brothers. My grandmother was foster parent. We had a lot of tough times, but I managed to make it out. I had everything against me: learning disability, speech impediment problem, fought through adversity, and for me, honestly, I feel as though basketball saved my life. It really did. It allowed me an opportunity to go to UMass, graduated, was able to play overseas for 17 years. And for me, my basketball dream started by going down the street and playing at Jerry Burrell. You know, for Willie Dean and his parents, providing us the opportunity to experience that. And it's just like, I've experienced a lot, but when I look back at it, Jerry Burrell was definitely what allowed me to dream bigger. I'd seen players that I looked up to, and from there, a lot of the things that I went through, I learned to fight through it because I love basketball. And we all know you can't make it to the next level without taking school serious and without, just taking life in general serious. So for me, being able to bring back that league means a lot. Like, everybody has always been asking for it. They understand that, once those games started, the crime stopped. You understand? Like the basketball games, we won multiple state championships. The crime stopped in our city. The same happened with Jerry Burrell. And, for whatever reason, the pandemic kind of slowed down Willie Dean and his parents. Like, they tried to, keep it going for as long as possible. So whenever I go in these parks and things like that and not see nothing going on, it breaks my heart. You know what I mean? So it's a big deal to me. You know what I mean? I'm willing to, take less shifts at my job. I'm a correctional officer. I'm willing to do what it takes to bring that back, because I know what it would mean to these kids.
Anything else about how many teams do we plan on bringing into the park?
I think we'll have a flood of teams wanting to play, but we don't want to bite off more than we can chew. Like, my goal for me, is to not just invite Schenectady teams, but teams from other areas, because that means that we'll have other families and communities coming to our park and seeing how well it's put together, and and just because there's a lot of money that went into that park, and everybody in Schenectady have seen it, and they always talk about, nothing's get done on Hamilton Hill and things like that. So that's just an opportunity for us to show them what exactly is happening in our community. So my goal is to invite other teams from Scotia, Colonies, Greenbush, like those type of teams, because AAU basketball is really big now, and I already have at least 25 that are willing to come to our park. So that's how big of a deal like this could be. You know what I mean? So I'm willing to put all my, eggs in the basket and, make it happen.
Yep. One of the things that Ray's going to do, he's also going to bring some people in. We're going to have some guest instructors during our daily things here. We have a couple high school kids that we're bringing on board. Ray's going to bring some guest instructors in. I think Ray's going to stop by once or twice.
Yeah. So the goal is, because the little ones, training and development has to start at a young age, right? So before the game, so if the games hypothetically started at 5, from 12 o'clock, we would, reach out to the younger kids and teach them, skills and drills and things like that free. You know what I mean? So, parents really can't afford for training, especially at that age. So that's something that we're going to provide throughout the week. But on Wednesdays, it'll open up, we'll open up to showcase, the talent in our area.
So when will this start?
Hopefully, we're hoping to start at July 9th through the 27th. And then the last weekend before the kids go back to school, we're thinking about having a double H day and just invite vendors and just people to come and just so. And our championships are happening on that last weekend, before kids go back to school, the same when I was younger.
What did you call that day?
Hamilton Hill Day.
Hamilton Hill Day.
Okay. Yeah.
Double H is what you said.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Double H, yeah.
Okay,
You know what I mean? But I think, to end the summer that way, I think it'll be great, a lot goes into that, because I want to involve everybody that's doing, every, community, person that, that's out there already doing things. We'll invite them to that weekend so it can be as big as we could possibly make it.
And there's no cost associated at all for anybody?
No. So when it cost $10 for the jersey when I was younger. So hopefully I'm trying to figure out a way to where because when I was playing, honestly, I've dumped over 100-something K into the community when I was playing. So I honestly can't afford to do that now.
Understood.
You know what I mean? And I've never gotten any grants or any no nothing. It's just been me trying to, you know what I mean? So I can't do that. So from now until then, we're gonna try to raise some money by doing something and try to, you know what I mean? But the real cost is really the jerseys, really. Those are the biggest costs. And then, maybe water jugs, things, because the refs are a cost, but that's just from week to week. So, you know, if we have a concession stand or something like that just might take care of the refs, and that's good enough, right? So, and then we want to provide food for the kids, like kids that we train and things like that, you know what I mean? So as time goes on, I don't have that long of a time, but you know what I mean? We have about 2 months before it starts, so hopefully we can raise some money or do something for that, you know what I mean? 'Cause, like, I definitely don't want to charge anybody to come or anything like that. Like, it's an outdoor event, so it's, you know what I mean? Like, there's no, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know.
So my question is more towards kind of the council, if you will. So I know that around budget time, I was talking about adding to our youth service line for things for this lake in particular. And I know that some of the ARPA money that did come back, we didn't reallocate to that line. But I think even in the existing line that we have right now, isn't that something that would be a good use to support that?
We have funding under the public safety
From the police department?
athletic league foundation, 25,000 on the police, 25,000 on fire. I think that's something that is prime that we can tap into that pocket of money there to help offset some of these costs. Gas.
But you put them on the spot.
Cheap.
How much do you like spend
It
this
is something that
money?
you guys have done over the years, the programs out in the community. This is another prime example of helping them here with some funding to offset the costs.
We already discussed that this morning about the superintendent.
Okay, so they're covered in terms of those funding there.
For the jerseys and everything? Will be
Yes, all supplies, whatever you need, you can get.
And I also wanted to say, he spoke about the support that we're going to get from the police station, and I think that is huge. I think that's really huge because I had events where we had Schenectady, Albany, Troy, Rensselaer all in one park, like for like 4 summers at a time, with maybe 300-400 people there with no police presence at all. And just because we kind of policed ourselves, like it kind of, you know what I mean? But I think with something like this, it definitely, you know, because we have families coming from different areas and things like that, I think that their presence and like them being involved in what we're doing, I think that'd be great for the community for sure.
Chief, if you don't mind,
Go
sorry.
ahead, Pat.
Well, just want to follow up, Chief.
One more.
So the program that we had last year, is this complementing this, or are we just adding this program here to the one that you had last year? Or are you replacing this one with last year's program?
This is going to be bigger and better than last year. I think last year was 1 day. Per series, right?
Yes, thank you.
We're going to be having police act. I've already spoken to the chief. James Plowden for the police department is already recruiting some officers. Police are going to have a presence there playing in some of this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So that might be something that you connect with Ray Frazier on as well, because Ray Frazier actually coordinated the first Schenectady Police Community Basketball League in Jerry Grove Park. Really very successful event. So that might be somebody that you want to tap on as well.
Ms. Patrick, did you put
I was
something
going to
in?
say, so we're still, I think we're also doing the evenings where the police are also going to be playing basketball with.
Yeah, we haven't sat down and worked out the schedule yet, but I talked to him. We also are going to have, in fact, I know that you mentioned that, the Schenectady Fire Department will be coming July 30th.
Yeah, no, you need that. You're right.
The Schenectady Fire Department will be coming July 30th up in Steinmetz and doing fishing with the kids.
Oh, okay, I'll be there for
And
that.
that'll follow up the fun day in the north end, I believe, is the 26th of July, which the DEC is going to come in. We met with DEC up there. We're looking at doing some stocking up in Steinmetz, get some more fish in the pond.
That's good.
And just, I know you're partnering with the school too. Do you want to talk a little bit about anything you're doing with the school district as well, just in terms of that partnership, or?
Chief, are we free to talk about what we negotiated with them now? Or?
I mean, I guess just in general, the agreement is.
Yeah, we're going to be working with the school district. They're going to be helping us out with some people that are going to be working on our pool deck in the summertime, which is also going to help out. It's going to free up some officers. We don't have to station them there. We also are working with the school district. We're going to work out. They're going to be bringing some kids to the park on scheduled times. So they're going to be coming into various parks. As soon as we set our schedule and interviews up, I'll sit down with them and figure out which parks can handle the amount of kids that they want to send in.
Yep, so just going to be a comment. Truly everything you said was admirable, and I think just your generosity with Schenectady and understanding its impact on your life is definitely, I think, something that I appreciate myself. The one thing I kind of want to caution against is you don't have to self-sacrifice like all on your own. There are so many resources throughout the community. I think everyone recognizes that not even the city, also in the county, Schenectady is very resource rich, but I find oftentimes a lot of it is putting out those branches, olive branches, working collectively and not having duplicative resources. So sincerely, we have this booming franchise, the New York Phoenix, who came here, and one of the reasons why I openly supported them was their investments in our community. So sincerely, I appreciate everything that you've done collegiately and also on the professional circuit. I remember looking at those leagues growing up and recognizing that I was not a basketball player. But to the other young boys and maybe young girls, there may be opportunities for them to thrive in a similar manner to yourself. So just saying, don't do it all on your own.
Yeah, I think that kind of fell into place because when I was playing, I would only be home for like 2 months at a time, and I would have like six events planned. So in order to get that, like the right support, you need time, you need grants and things like that, or whatever the case. So I would have all of these things planned, and I wouldn't have that much time to do it. And, you know, so it's just like, I think that's kind of why that happened, as far as like reaching out to the right people and everything.
Anybody else? Well, thank you so much.
Good luck.
It's going to be
Yes.
great. Thank you.
Sounds going to be very nice. Thanks, Billy.
You're welcome.
All right, take care. Finance Committee?
Yeah, thank you. I would like to call the Finance Committee to order. And the first item is the New York State DEC Municipal Zero Emission Vehicle Infrastructure Grant. Chief Clifford. Deputy Chief.
No, that's not you, but come on.
I'm standing for Chief Clifford.
Just take your time. Go ahead.
Thanks. So the first grant here is from the New York State DEC. They are willing to give us $16,000 for the municipal golf course for electric chargers, and $38,800 for chargers to be used at the police station. When we pair this with the Make Ready grant that I'd like to produce next, that will be, we'll be able to get the electric charging stations free at the golf course. So there'll be no out-of-pocket expense to the city, and we will have electric chargers at the golf course. And then the $38,800, we want to accept that. If we don't accept it by July, then ask for an extension, we'll lose the grant. This was something that was applied for back in 2022, so we want to ask for it, or accept it, ask for an extension, and I'm working on some other grants that we'd like to pair with this, that hopefully we find out in September that we'll win, and it would be part of a bigger project. But again, we would not be able to do the whole project with just this $38,800.
Go ahead, question.
So 16,000 the golf course, and then 38 plus more that you're going to need for the police department.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain how, like, the grant came to two different things? Like, I understand that you applied for grants for the police department, so how is it that then we just used part of it someplace else and it wasn't able to go to the police department?
So this grant was actually written for 2 different locations. So this...
It was written that way?
Yes, this grant was written by Alex Sutherland in 2022. And there was 2 separate locations. One was for the golf course, and one was for Lafayette Street. And it was broken down by the 2 locations.
Are you just finishing up the work that started back in 22?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question on item 1? Seeing none, may I have a motion to move item 1?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. The next item is the National Grid NY PV Make Ready program.
This one is the one that I applied for recently, and they accepted. This is for the rest of the money that we need to install the charging stations at the golf course.
Questions? Seeing none, a motion to move this?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. The next item is the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant Program. Deputy Chief?
Yes. This is a grant that was provided by the Department of Energy, and we would like to use these funds. It's a one-time grant to install a DC fast charging station, which right now is proposed to go at the corner of Erie and Union. The anticipated budget would be $99,000 for that. The remaining $27,660 roughly would be used towards a fully electric vehicle, and this would be a rebate that would come back to us. We're not looking to add any extra vehicles. We would just be able to put that towards a vehicle that we're already purchasing within the city. And again, that would be for any electric vehicle in the city. Just would be a rebate coming back to us.
Go ahead, please.
How many electric vehicles do we now have for the police force?
The police department has 7 currently. We just took delivery of 1 last week.
And they're doing well?
Yes, absolutely.
Any other questions?
Chief, is this from the U.S. Department of Energy?
It is. Yes, Department of Energy, yes.
The U.S. Department, so that's how it's a short timeline.
Yes.
I noticed that one of the grants said there was no matching from the city, so I just wanted to find out if there's any matching on any of them.
There's no matching at any of these.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
So I had 2 questions. They're kind of linked to all 3 of the grants. One of which definitely the governor's intent is to have this expectation in a number of years. Do you believe our city is able to meet that with grants solely?
With grant solely, I don't believe so. So this is, I know that she mentioned by 2035, 100%. I don't believe so. I think that we're gonna, the capital funds that we ask for every year, we're gonna have to start putting more towards that. I know the police department is. Last year, we purchased 2, and I think this year we're gonna purchase another 2 capital funds that we requested. So I think every year we need to build towards using those funds for electric vehicles if we're going to meet that goal.
Great. And then a second question, is there any data or like usage rates or usage map as we consider like placement? I have an EV, absolutely love it. I would ask everyone to consider it, but it definitely requires a different school of thought, like because you can't just go and quickly fuel your car up. It takes a lot more planning than that. But as the city rolls these out, is there any consideration for branching out beyond what the libraries and away from downtown?
So I do not have that data. I know Linkwell, the city, they help us choose some of the locations. And right now, as far as the DC chargers go, we have to find out where the actual power can support those. They need a ton of power. So that's kind of where we chose the DC location for it. And then the level 2 chargers can kind of go anywhere as long as you can get that doesn't require nearly as much power. But the DC power is a much bigger ask to get in.
Thanks, Charlie.
We've tried to spread them out throughout the city, so we have, on Upper Union Street, some of the higher traffic locations downtown. The one that's proposed, the Assistant Chief's talking about for Union and Erie Boulevard would be available to the public, but it's also a DC fast charger so that for the city fleet, police cars, code enforcement, that those would literally be able to charge in 15 to 20 minutes so that it would be, it's balancing out the network and continuing to grow throughout the city, and you see it not only in Schenectady, but across the state, across the country. But there are specific, if you want utilization of each charging station, we can provide that to you.
Any other question? Seeing none, may I have a motion to move this item forward?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any other businesses for finance? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
I'd like to call to order city development and planning. We have 3 items on the agenda. The first item is to request home rule legislation to increase birth and death certificate fees. The LR is pretty self-explanatory. Right now we're charging $30 and the state allows us, we're charging $10 and the state allows us to charge for up to $30 to be charged. And based on the information that's been provided to us by our clerk's office, we haven't increased this fee in decades. I'm not sure exactly how many. But the fees for storage and digitalization continue to increase, so essentially we're not keeping up with the increase. So what I'd like to do is to request home rule, and I think Santa Barbara's office said that we still have the opportunity to do this, to allow for us to increase the fees for the issuance of birth and death certificates, records. Yes, Mr. O'Brien.
Madam President, just for, for the big context, Section 4173 of the Public Health Law is what sets the rate at our current rate for the city clerk. However, there are provisions in that same law that allow certain cities, such as Albany and Jamestown, New York, to charge up to what the health commissioner charges, which is $30. So what this is doing is, just like Jamestown and Albany have gotten special carve-outs in the legislation to allow us to charge up to $30, which is the maximum rate set by the statute of the New York State Health Commissioner. So this is just a legislative request, as you said, Madam President, and then if it's introduced, then we'll get the home rule request at a later date. And then the ordinance, if we could get it signed into law, then at a later date, the council will pass on the ordinance increasing the rate.
Yes, Ms. Patrick?
I was wondering if we had an estimate of what an increase in our revenue would be if this goes through.
So
presented as the last year's budget.
we can give you the information. So essentially, but there are a lot of births and death certificates. I actually was here today for Cinco de Mayo, for a short period of time. And but in that short period of time, I think I saw at least 4 people come through the door looking for birth certificates. It was in this case. So I'm not sure what the number is. Do you have on an average how many people come through the door?
For those 2 items specifically, no, because it varies.
I think the line items in the budget just divided
It is.
10.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what the number is.
So, Mr. Williams was, and then, go ahead.
So I was going to ask, are we going to seek the maximum amount?
Yeah, did you want, I think, yes, 30. Yes, Mr. Toro?
Oh, marriage licenses, are they considered under the same or no? Okay.
No.
Just birth and death. So I need a motion to move this forward.
So moved.
Say development planning.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The next item is to discuss the new trash collection rules. So I put this on before they came in the mail, but I still did want to talk about it and maybe have us talk about it because I've been getting feedback and I just kind of wanted to know what other feedback other people have gotten. And I do want some clarity around what we receive in the mail versus what's going to look like when people come to City Hall. And we had talked about having more public service information because I don't, everybody can speak for themselves, but I'm getting phone calls to say, how does this work? What do we do with it? How does it work going forward? So I just wanted to talk about that. Do we need to revisit and do anything differently? So I can begin. So this question, I guess, would be for you, Mayor, that we got the ones in the mail and they have expiration dates, but is that just for those?
Correct.
And going forward, they won't have expiration dates?
Correct. If you buy something here, they are good forever.
Okay.
Or until they're used, and they're no longer good.
And are they stickers really that you buy here, or are they
The
like?
ones that are available at City Hall are stickers that are peel off and put on an item.
Oh.
These have to be taped or stapled or fixed some way.
How do we, because I also got calls from people who said they didn't get any. So what list do we use and how did someone who didn't get the mailing get one?
It was mailed on, some people got the end of the week, and so I would wait until today and tomorrow. If people didn't get it, then to make the call, because it would still possibly be in the system.
Call OGS, call your office, call?
OGS. They're more than welcome to call the mayor's office also.
Okay. And this is a particular instance, but there was an individual that I'm told they put the couch out on Thursday because their trash was on Friday. And their stickers didn't come until later in the day when the mail came on Friday, but the couch didn't get picked up. I thought what was going to happen is they would get picked up and people would be charged even if there was no sticker on it. I know that we're just like right in the midst of this, so what would that person do in that case?
The sofa might be a
Bed?
convertible that we don't pick up
Right.
because of the way it's manufactured and the inability to really recycle it. So if you give the address to me or call Paul Fund, we'll follow up on it to see what the actual story is.
Okay. Right. Anybody else? Ms. Williams?
So definitely I was one of those individuals that started to receive a lot of just feedback on what's been received, and I know we've gotten an email recently and had the opportunity to talk to him. And I appreciate when anyone shares their feedback. I think regardless of how you interpret what our response is going to be, I think as a city it's responsible for us to accurately understand how you feel, those listening and also in the room. But one of the big areas that I notice is going to make or break this adjustment is enforcement. So I don't know if anyone else feels the same, but I haven't noticed just traditionally enforcement in these regards has been present, and wanted to make sure that if we are now identifying a fee with this, I think there's naturally going to be a knee-jerk reaction from the community. I think that's to be expected. But I caution anyone listening against us acting out of the fear of how people are going to respond negatively. And I want to say there are measures and steps that we can take, one of which is just identifying common dumping areas and putting in place some physical barriers. There are some technological assists, but very much it's going to require us to actively monitor, and if you are noticing behavior that is not conducive to what we're trying to do, if you're noticing people that are trying to thwart our efforts, it's important to make that known, because we can't address what we don't know. But sincerely, the rising costs with waste removal, what you're seeing globally, Schenectady is not absent that, and truly the costs are going up, and this is one step that I support, as how does our city respond to rising trash fees? And as we have looked at not bulk items, as we looked at jackpots, definitely the feedback that I've received from people, it was easier to address bulk items as opposed to the trash bag conversation, which we all know did not go over well. So very much putting it in as a staged approach. And this is very much why I think the expectation from my part was having this in place by January was going to allow us that much more lead time to understand its impact and how this was felt throughout the community. Regardless of that, we don't have that, and we're almost halfway through the year. So just reminding people in the community that this is going to be a working process. And it's going to be a lived document that evolves with how it is received. But very much we have to do something.
Anyone else? Yes, Ms. Patrick?
Well, I just do want to, again, reiterate that we did say that, I don't remember if we put a certain period of time, but that we were going to revisit and evaluate and discuss it again several months down the road.
And I think in order to do that, we have to, whenever we say that to Mr. LaFawn, he always says, you have to tell me specifically what you want. So I think we need to tell him specifically what it is that we're looking for in order to evaluate and find out, does this work? Or do we need to do something different with it? But I definitely, I agree with you that, so we should talk about when we would want to have data. So essentially this was supposed to start April 1st, but because we didn't have the stickers yet, it's more like May 1st. So do we want to wait 3 months and then ask him to give us 3 months of data after having gotten this? Do we want to wait 4 months? So those are kind of questions. Because then we'll be up on budget time pretty, quickly after that, and then we're gonna have to look at how much money really came in as a result of this, and do we need to adjust as we look at the budget? So, did you?
Well, I just wanted to say that I think we need several months, I think, of, under our belts to really have some good data.
3, 4? 4?
No, I would say even more than that,
6?
probably.
Okay. Well, I just think we should do it and have something by the time the budget time comes around, so we'll have a sense.
We'll have to have some data by budget time, obviously, to see.
Yes.
So I think that we also have to look at the fact that we did increase fees on people as well, and we talked about this being not only the enforcement, but also the education piece. And from what I'm hearing from in the community and from my colleagues at the table, we're still communicating this out to people, and people are just starting to become, you know, people still have questions, and I think that we need to be mindful of that adjustment period, and I think that we need to make sure that we're giving people that adjustment period, and we can say that we've done kind of our due diligence on educating and letting people know and making them aware of the changes before we start with harsh enforcement, if you will. I think that what we can do is, as well as we can have our projected funds that we would take in from this without having to take it from actually taking it from people. In other words, as we can start to collect the data now, and instead of, you know, John Doe here trying to figure out, like, you know, instead of charging him right away because he didn't have the sticker or didn't understand the process of the sticker. I just think that we still have to be really mindful of how we're rolling this out in a way that we can still collect the data without making people feel like it's just a money grab, if you will, from the city.
So are people, like, I know that it says on here the size trash cans, so one of the other questions do we have to, if people don't have the right size trash can right now, that's not going to be a...
We didn't say that. I'm sorry.
It says garbage can size limits.
That's always been in the code, the upper limit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really for the safety of the employees, where you get a trash can that's too big so that somebody wouldn't be able to handle it in the normal course of business. You don't want people to have back injuries or leg injuries, where you have people out on workman's comp.
So the minimum is the 10-gallon minimum is also what is going to be enforced. I don't even know what 10 gallons look like, right?
It's small.
Okay. And the other questions, I mean, it's right here, it's very clear, but the other question that was raised, because there are people who do not recycle. You see no recycling, so you know that if they have boxes or anything, it's inside that trash bag. So I don't think people are going to be opening the bags, are they? Or maybe I should say, are they going to be opening the bags to see if there's recycling
Not
material?
unless there would be some reason to, beyond the normal course of business. Excuse me.
Okay. All the other stuff is here. I think that's been standard, no construction debris. Everyone knows that. So, okay, so I think we should, I'm sorry, Mr. Torres.
That's okay, thank you. As far as opening the trash bag, I do have very diligent trashmen in my area. And when the bags are like extra heavy, I do see them gently open. A lot of times it's construction debris and they just leave it. So I think it's up to their discretion if, you know, if they think it's extra heavy for some reason, they'll look inside of it. Just leave it. Same with waste, yard waste. My daughter threw some of that landscaping fabric inside of it, and just thinking it was biodegradable because it came from the lawn. And you know, they did leave it because it doesn't belong in the recycling bin. So the trashmen are very well aware of what they're picking up and what they need to pick up. So.
I definitely didn't want to overtalk, but definitely I had two main takeaways that I heard just in the email that we received and also in passing from informal conversations. One of which was just, I think, communication and just how messaging is. So with that narrative that was received in the mail, I think what the normal response is, I have to pay for a sticker and then I have to pay for the item also. So the recommendation I was going to have is roping in any administrative costs into one figure, just because that conceptually just feels like you're double paying, although there are factors that go into like printing and the time that goes into that. So there is a factor. Did you have your face speaking? Okay. But also there are white vans that drive around the city. I don't know the accurate name for them, but they're often individuals who just pick up like any trash or something that they can recycle. Scrappers. There we go. Scrappers. And one of the other points was, I'm going to pay to put an item out front that someone other than the city is going to take away, and having that cost go to the city did not sit right with them. So I think in these instances, again, this is an iterative process where there'll be multiple different stages. I would say with something like that, we can probably incorporate some scrapper phone numbers. That way you can coordinate that ahead of time, but sincerely, when you pay for this sticker, you are paying for the certainty that it will not be there when you come back from work. And I think that is a reassurance that I myself feel comfortable with, and others may not. So I think if we are going to work with the members of the community, wherever they sit, I think just making sure that people in different professions, so the scrappers, are working collaboratively and not against each other. Those are my two takeaways.
Anyone else? All right, so I'm going to say, like maybe in 2 or 3 months, 3 or 4 months, we'll bring it back to see where we are. Let's talk about it and see. And I think we're going to be able to see on the street how it's doing anyway. I don't think we're going to need to wait to like get that. I think just driving around the city, even on the neighborhoods that we live in, and those may show various outcomes. We're going to be able to see how well this is happening. And if we're getting what the email that the gentleman said that there's going to be excessive dumping, we're going to see if that's happening as well. So we'll be able to evaluate in sort of an anecdotal way, but it'll be very clear, I think, as opposed to in addition to what Mr. LaFawn will bring forward. So just wanted to get some clarification on those points. I think that we'll probably get more phone calls, but people can come to OGS and get their $5 tickets. Yes?
Yeah, I do have another question now. Just so I know we talked about kind of the soft rollout of enforcement is some of the language that was used. I guess this is more for the mayor. How long is that soft rollout period going to last, or are we foregoing that period and just at a level of strict enforcement now?
We're phasing it out now. This mailing's gone out, and again, it's still what I would hope being used in the field of labels, common sense.
So do we know like when we're gonna, an idea of when that soft rollout ends and we go right to more?
We're ending it now, so if people are putting out a sofa, it should have a sticker on it, or if a chair goes on it, has a sticker on it. And the component we've been enforcing with people who were putting out garbage far earlier than they should, so it was ending up being out multiple days before the scheduled collection date. That we're still going to continue to enforce. And then the jackpots, which we all have our own vision of what is a jackpot, but we're going to look to assess those properties at whatever it costs to remove the material in accordance with the fee structure that's been adopted.
All right, thank you. We'll discuss this. We'll talk a bit more about trash in a few months. All right, thank you. Item number 3 is we're going to hold that for 2 weeks to make sure that all the information that we want to discuss is available. So I do have one other item that I would like to bring before the council. Refreshing Spring Church is having their church anniversary. I want to say 75 years. And so the event is in a couple weeks, so I would like to be able to offer them a ceremonial resolution to honor that anniversary. So,
I'll second it.
all's in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. There's nothing else to come before City Development Planning. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
I'd like to call to order government operations. We have one item on the agenda. That is a discussion around Schenectady Poet Laureate. Mr. Williams.
Thank you. So this was just sincerely getting back the draft version from the Corporation Council that just puts all of the language that we discussed last cycle into LR for your review. For all sense of transparency, this does not incorporate any payment models. And I think that was the only point of not disagreement, but I think a debate that was still outstanding. I know the mayor mentioned civil service, and I believe the way that it was written alleviates us of having to go down that path, which I think is more appropriate in that this is a new position in the city, and us trying to understand the community's receptiveness to it. I think allowing this first individual that grace to build this program up or build this position up is important. And then thereafter discussing just how we align any budget line items makes more sense. But sincerely hope that everyone had a chance to review this, and then very much this would be a living document where the nominating review committee, as they formulate themselves, they can incorporate their feedback into this also, and very much so allowing those individuals, the organizations they represent, and the poet laureate to really make this position meaningful and integrate into the community, separate from our direct oversight, but still allowing us to kind of review and make sure that they're functioning underneath these understandings.
Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong person. In terms of the nominating committee itself, are you open to taking recommendations for folks to serve on that committee? I know that there's the 2 at-large, right? 2 at-large City of Schenectady residents.
So with this adopted language, I would say it's taking the 4 bodies that currently have representatives and allowing them that discretion to vet those individuals. Again, just wanting to kind of remove us and our political personal biases that are attached regardless of where you feel that you are. We do have those. I think wanting the community to feel that this position really reflects the innate nature of focusing on literacy and poetry in and of itself. I don't find that to be political in any nature or regard. It was a recommendation, so I don't know if you were recommending more organizations or more individuals. I'm open to that, but I would hope that once this passes, that would then allow them to start receiving applicants both for the poet laureate and then also for the nominating review committee.
Okay, so someone on that nominating panel is going to be taking nominations for the 2 City of Schenectady residents.
So it will come through the council.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that the nomination, somebody was taking nominations.
I have a question. Under the nominating committee, you have Schenectady County Board of Trustees. Does that should be library?
That it is, isn't
I
it?
think we're missing it.
SUNY Schenectady, it says SUNY Schenectady, Board of Trustees. That's the college, right?
Oh, that's a typo.
Yes.
So there should be a comma and then Schenectady County Board of Trustees. Yep, you're correct.
SUNY Schenectady?
There's this
SUNY
college.
It's a college.
Yeah.
So there's no one from the library?
Right.
Schenectady County Board of Trustees.
The SUNY Schenectady, the college board, and that's what they're referred to as.
Wait.
You have SUNY Schenectady in there twice.
Yes.
Yes, so it's SUNY Schenectady and then the
SUNY
Schenectady
Schenectady.
County Board of Trustees, which is the library.
All right, so there was only one SUNY, not somebody from the SUNY Schenectady, not somebody from the academic department, but
Yes.
just somebody from the Board of Trustees.
No, so it's someone from the academic
Okay.
and then separate, the Schenectady County is going to have a representative from the Board of Trustees.
So the
Schenectady
library?
County Public Library.
Public library. So can we add that in that?
So it's the Schenectady County Public Library.
The last,
Board of
the
Trustees.
second to last.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm sorry, correcting the typo. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Chairman, just to follow up on Councilmember Williams, I did take a look at the civil service titles. There is no civil service title for poet laureate. This is an honorary title. It's not a decision-making within the governmental structure, and it's an unpaid position, and the resolution is clear on that they're not an officer or employee of the city.
Any questions, concerns from anyone else?
Oh, your hand's going up for a question?
Yeah, I was just going to say, so we're going to make that correction.
We'll make it the Schenectady County Library Board of Trustees, County Library Board of Trustees with that amendment. And just for everybody, the date is September 8th. That was just give everybody enough time. It sets a date, and that's where the cycle will start for the biennial appointment designation.
So I'll entertain a motion with the amended language that
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Okay. If there are no more issues to come before government operations, I will accept the motion to come out of government operations.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Thank you.
So I'd like to call to order the Claims Committee. We have one item on the agenda tonight that is police personnel military leave matter. I believe that topic needs to be spoken to in executive session. So at this time, I'd like a motion to enter executive session.
Second.
First, I will second. All in favor? Aye. We are in executive session.
Members of the public will have to leave.
Let's raise